commemorate my first month of YouTube, I'd like to go back to my roots, which also has the highest view count, and review the SH Monsterarts Gojira, or in this case Godzilla, the original version of 1954. Before going to the figure, I'd like to give and thank my audience with a history lesson on the background of Gojira and how it came to be. During the Second World War, in which the Empire of Japan was on the losing or Axis side, Japan was at the war with the Allied nations, especially the full might and force of the United States of America. In doing so, after the surrender of Italy and Germany, Japan was fighting a losing war by itself, and desperate times called for desperate measures. With radical and different methods of fighting, to the beginning of the Pacific War, US casualties went up proportionately during the battles of Iwo Jima and Okinawa, which made the US hesitate its once proud tactics during the beginning of the war. In doing so, the US through B-29 bombers based in Iwo Jima and Okinawa conducted intense bombing raids on Tokyo and other major Japanese cities, resulting in the rapid decline of Japan's wartime industry, but also the death of countless Japanese military personnel and civilians. But the Empire of Japan refused to budge, in which the United States ultimately used the atom bombs, Little Boy on Hiroshima and Fat Man on Nagasaki. With the dropping of the two A-bombs, the potential of another one being dropped on Tokyo, and the Soviet Union pressing their attack on Manchuria and the Korean Peninsula, Japan was ultimately left with no other choice but to submit. With the declaration of surrender, Japan was forced to compensate for its wrongdoings, to say it lightly, during the war, alongside Japan being one of the Axis powers, was strictly under US jurisdiction, which meant Japan was denied to possess a standing army and had to follow US rules, which included certain censorships, during which resulted in a very rocky start for US and Japanese relations, which improved over the years with the onset of the Cold War, where the US required allies in Asia, which allowed Japan to have a self-defense force and incorporate the US free market and democratic system, allowing Japan to become the third largest economy today, right behind its former enemy, now trusted ally, and a certain country which brought forth various with the end of the Second World War alongside the onset of the Cold War, in which the proliferation of nuclear weapons reached its peak, resulting in the fear of nuclear war and mutually assured destruction, made the Japanese, especially the citizens whom witnessed the strength and terror of nuclear weapons firsthand, terrified. This alongside the US A-bomb test in the Pacific indirectly impacting a fishing boat called Lucky Dragon No. 5 and a crew with radiation poisoning, revitalizing the threat of nuclear weapons. This resulted in the director, Hondo Ishiro, depicting such fears and allegories in Gojira through a kaiju titled Gojira, which is what happens when you combine the katakana words for Japanese written systems, gorilla, gorilla, and kojira, whale. I'm not shitting you, look it up. With that said, Gojira is a prehistoric reptile or dinosaur living in a secluded island in the Pacific, although it does differ from film to film, which I am not going to go into because it's a mess and I don't have the time to explain it alongside Japanese history. Until it became a victim of nuclear tests, which negatively affected the dinosaur, mutating it to the Gojira we know today. Then you might ask, why all this historical info dump for a figure review? And I say, why not? It's a good history lesson and resulted in two great things: Daikaiju to anime. As you know, when Bandai, when talking about their sculpt, goes full in on its SH Monsterarts, and in doing so, I have not been disappointed by the releases so far. Thus, the sculpt on the SH Monsterarts Gojira over here is superb. When looking at his head, it's almost frightening or laughable depending on who you're talking to, as it closely resembles Gojira depicted in the film. This includes the eyes, as the uneven eyes are actually screen accurate. The teeth and the mouth are also well defined, as the two fangs protruding out on the front of the mouth, in this case screen accurate. The skin here is very representative of the allegory of the film, alongside Gojira's tragic nature, as the black and grey paint job represents the scorched skin that Gojira was inflicted upon by the A-bombs. The hands and feet are also well defined, as they happen to resemble that of a dinosaur, which people knew of dinosaurs during the 1950s. As the black skin contrasts with the grey claws, making for an outstanding feature. However, it is disappointing to note that the claws on the hands are not separately painted and instead possess the similar paint job to that of the skin. The dorsal plates, influenced from the Stegosaurus ones, are spot on as they possess a burnt but also deformed shape, further elaborating on the creature's tragic nature, and would go on and influence other, or in this case future, Godzilla designs. As explained in my previous videos, the SH Monsterarts lines are not well known for their articulation, and are instead more akin to statues. This is in my opinion partially due to the fact that Dai Kaiju are not well known for their diverse movement, resulting in the SH Monsterarts line's limited posability. The head can look left and right, up and down. The neck can move up and down, providing a decent amount of movement to the head. The arm movement is limited, same applies for the elbows. The hands, on the other hand, can move 360 degrees. The chest and waist are composed of separate pieces, but the movement is non-existent. The leg movement is decent. The knees, similar to the waist, are non-existent. The feet can move left and right, up and down, but only a little. The best articulation, similar to the 2019 Godzilla, is the tail, as each 16 pieces are attached to ball joints, providing diverse movement. I can't hold it back! The movement is killing me! I'm so fucked up. When talking about accessories, there's none. Now, size comparison time. Here's the SH Monsterarts Gojira next to high-grade Gundam Deep Beyond Global version, the high-grade Zaku 2 Revive version, SH Monsterarts Gojira 2019 poster color version, and my other SH Monsterarts Gojira or Godzilla figures. In conclusion, the SH Monsterarts Gojira is a great figure, especially when looking at the sculpt and paint job. However, the preposterous price alongside the lack of accessories makes it a high bar for most people, deterring a lot of potential customers. If you're a fan of Gojira and the franchise, but you want to pay respect to his roots, it's worth a purchase. However, for most people, especially those with a limited budget or disposable income, I would recommend other figures such as the Godzilla vs. Kong Godzilla, which comes with more accessories but at a cheaper price. This video is brought to you by viewers like you. Thank you. So I don't ask for your help. I beg for it! On what, you might ask? This. And this. Please. I beg you.